welcome back to my channel. My name's Chell and this is Chell Reads a Bit. So I'm gonna be starting a new weekly vlog. Today is Saturday, April 1st. The reason I'm starting this one on the 1st is because the magical Readathon Spring Equinox starts today. So I wanted to just start a whole new vlog because I'm gonna just be focusing on those books. But there's gonna be some rollovers because, you know, your girl really wants to get to these books that she's already started. So I'm not that far into those books, so I don't feel too bad having them on this TBR. It's gonna work like it usually does. The list just is my Spring Equinox TBR. What I did, since there's 20 spaces, I just repeated them over and over. There's one book that's not on the list because it's a longer book, so I'm just gonna read it throughout as much as I can because it just would be too much to try to fit into 1 week, so I'm just gonna split it into like all throughout the month. So that's that. But before we get into rolling and all other jazz, if you do enjoy my videos, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe. I would love to have you here. I know Chibi would enjoy it. Let's just get into it. I use the roll the dice game from Fairy Loot that I got. I just put my books on here. We can go through the books and the prompts, start them all over the place. It's only 12 something today and I'm already out of my mind. My Spring Equinox TBR. So my career that I chose a while back was Master of Elements. So this Equinox, I have Elemental Studies, Shape-Shifting, Animal Studies, Astronomy, Conjuration, and Restoration. So for Elemental Studies, I had flowers on the cover. And you know, I had a few options, but since I had already started this and not very far into it, like not even 100 pages, and thankfully it had a flower on the cover. It's just one flower, but I think it counts. Is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. You see there's a flower right here. I hope you can see that, but there's a flower. So I was like, you know what, this makes my life easy. I can get it on this TBR to read because I need to read it. I started at the end of January and haven't touched it since. This is just a dust jacket. I have the Fairy Loot edition. It is in my new cute dust jacket that I got. It's from Besties UK. I'll leave links down below. This is so cute, so amazing, so fluffy. I love it. But I wanted something to protect my hardcovers because I get Fairy Loot editions that I don't want the actual hardcover to get destroyed. But this is my Fairy Loot copy, so it's here. But I totally recommend. This is really nice quality, very, very nice, very cute. I'll leave again links down below because I really want to eventually get more of these. These are really cute and very handy. So that is the first one, Elemental Studies. And then I have Shape-Shifting, which is wolf on the cover, title or author's name, which I had so many issues with because I just, for some reason, I don't have many or any wolf books other than like obviously Scarlet I think has a wolf on it, but that's the second book. Yeah, so I was like, oh, what the fuck do I do for this one? So I had to peruse. I think I like tried like different ones that I've read before, like Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. Yes, it's a weird way for back in the day, but I was like, you know what, I've read it before, but it wasn't available in my library, and I was like, I'm not paying for this Kindle book. So I chose, funny enough, a book that I've tried reading 5 million times at this point and always stop, but it's not long. I've started before I know what I'm getting into, and it's Cry Wolf by Patricia Briggs. It's like this werewolf romance, I think. It's a paranormal romance, so I have that on there. I've tried reading it, but I mean, it's not because it's necessarily bad, it's just I don't know, I just couldn't. It's gonna be my like 4th time I think trying to read it, or 3rd, but we'll see about this time. But that's the one that I chose because I couldn't think of anything else. Then for Animal Studies, it was Flip a Coin, Heads, Nonfiction, Tails, Fiction, and I had my boyfriend flip the coin, and of course I got nonfiction. He don't love me, I guess, but you know, we'll get through it. But so I got nonfiction. I'm not much of a nonfiction girly, but you know, I wish I was. There was one that I've heard of long ago that I wanted to read, but it's not available in my library and everything, so I was like, okay, I'll get the Kindle book, because I had to buy the Kindle book for Cry Wolf. It was only like it's like 100 something baht, which is like $2-3. So I was like, you know, okay, fine. But this book was more like $6-7 US. So it is The Stranger Beside Me by Anne something. I'll put the picture up. But I heard about this long ago from somebody, and it's like about this lady who knew Ted Bundy. It's an interesting topic I wanted to read. I'm not crazy about serial killers or anything, and I'm not that kind of person, but I was interested in this topic. So this one will be the one that I read throughout the month, because it is like a long book. So I don't want, it's not on the list for the game, but I will be reading it. But that's the nonfiction one. The next one is astronomy, which is 2 letter E's in the title. So I was, because maybe I'm a dumb, but I was like, does it mean like, does it have to be a double E or just 2 E's anywhere on the cover? Like how the girl who fell beneath the sea, there's like different, there's E's, but they're throughout the cover. The title, you know, yes, I'm not, but so either way, I had books that had 2 E's or multiple E's just in different places. But I chose a reread because I wanted to reread this series and tab and highlight, and that is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger, one of my favorite middle grades of all time. Even though Sophie gets annoying close to the end of the series, which is the last book, I don't know when it's gonna be coming out, but I still love it. Sophie can be annoying, she has her moments, but I still love this series. Don't want to do a reread, so I feel like I always have these in the readathons, so I might as well have this one. I'm gonna be tabbing and highlighting and everything, so I'm excited to read that. So that's what I chose for 2 letter E's on the cover for astronomy. This shouldn't be hard, I get through these really fast. And then Conjuration was recommended by a friend, so I didn't ask a friend, I asked my sister, and she is a big Shauna Maguire girly, and she's a big Shauna Maguire fan, so anything like Wayward Children's or anything Shauna Maguire. So I was like, okay, I'll try to find the first book in the Wayward Children's. And disclaimer, I have read it already, but I haven't read it in a long time, so I didn't feel comfortable going into the second book. And yes, I know you can read them out of order, but that's not how this one right here cannot do that, cannot function, cannot abide by that. So I have to go in order, and yes, I've already read Every Heart a Doorway, but it's not all here still. So I wanted to reread it, but of course the library, for some reason the library has been really slacking, and I feel bad that they don't have a lot of certain titles right now, but they didn't have the actual copy of Every Heart a Doorway. But I found the audiobook, so I'm going to be listening to the audiobook of the first book for the recommends to Shauna Maguire. That's just like the Shauna Maguire that I would rather read. I don't know if I would really enjoy the other Shauna Maguire books, so I'm just going to reread Every Heart a Doorway, and maybe, who knows, maybe I'll pick up the second one if they have it. But that's the recommends. My sister recommended it. She loved Shauna Maguire, The Wayward Children's. She is a big fan. So that's that one for Conjuration. And last but not least, Restoration was Close Your Eyes, Shuffle Point. So what I did was I picked 3 books and gave them to my boyfriend. He then shuffled them, and while I closed my eyes, he shuffled them, and then he put them down with my eyes closed, and then I pointed, and then I found out what book I was gonna read. So the 3 choices were The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Vision in Silver, which is the 3rd book in the Novel of Others series by Anne Bishop, one of my favorite paranormal romance series, and what was the third one? Oh, The Wizards of Wands, which is by Cressida Cowell, which is a middle grade. And he shuffled them when I had my eyes closed, and with my eyes closed I pointed, and funny enough, thankfully enough, I got The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I need to finish. I started it last week, if you saw my vlog last week, which was a fail. I didn't get very far, so I don't feel bad having it on this DVR. I'm only on page 39, so I pointed this, I did not cheat. I had my eyes closed, didn't know, and it just so happened that the universe wants me to finish this goddamn book, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. And I'm happy because I want to get these books that I've already started off of my reading list, so I'm glad I got that on there, and I can focus on that one of these weeks once I roll it. So that was Restoration. Those are all the books and all the classes that I need to complete for this Equinox. So what I did is I took them, except the one, because I'm just going to continuously read it whenever I sit down and read it. So the 5 others are on here, and I just repeated them, I think 4 times to fill them. So what I'm going to do is then roll like normal, and then whatever book is that I'm going to focus on that week. Hopefully I finish it. If not, then I might roll over to the next week, but we'll see as we go. Sorry if this is all over the place. It's hot in here, even with this fan. And yeah, let's see what our first roll is. So here's the list. Again, that one book is not on here. So let's see what we'll roll for this week alongside that. The Strangers Beside Me. What are we gonna get? What are we gonna get? 10. What is 10? Wow, that's funny. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. How apt. Because that was the one I was just reading and did not finish, so that's good. I got 10, which is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which again I was just reading in my last vlog and totally failed, so that's good that I just started this, so I don't have to wait till farther in the month to read it. I can get this done immediately, even though yes, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea is one I started even longer ago, but I'm not as like in that one because it's been a bit since I've even read it, so that one I'll need a little time to get back into it, but I'm already into this one, so that's cool. Very funny that managed to happen, but I'm excited. I assume everyone knows what The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is about, by B.E. Schwab. It's about Addie who prays to the god that she wasn't supposed to, and she gets immortality pretty much, but the caveat is that she won't be remembered. Anytime she leaves a room, the person will forget her, and then one day, who knows, maybe someone remembers her. That's it. I don't want to spoil anything, so I don't know much because I have not finished it. This is my second time trying to read this book, not because I don't like it, but because I just put it down over the holidays in 2021 and never picked it back up. I'm just glad that I kind of rolled this first since I've already started it, so I'm excited to get to this one, especially since there's some easier books that can leave till closer to the end of the month to get through, while there's other books that are going to be harder. I'm going to read The Stranger Beside Me as much throughout the week as I am able to alongside this bad boy, but yeah, so that was the first roll. I will hopefully have chibi content as well, because I know everyone would just want to see chibi, but I'm excited to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and get that done since I failed. This is my redemption arc to finish this book, pretty much. I think that's what the universe is telling me, but I'm excited for the magical readathon. I will leave the links down below. It was created by G from Book Roast. Don't know why I waited this long to say that. She's amazing. This readathon is amazing. The world she's created is amazing. I will leave all the links down below. I totally recommend. I'd be surprised if you don't know who she is. Maybe I'm just preaching to the choir, but I think that you should go listen to, watch her. But it's amazing. I totally appreciate what she's created. Thank you, G. It's amazing. You're amazing. But yeah, so that is the book we'll be reading this week again. hopefully this time it's not as much of a fail, but this one at least will end on a normal day. Like, I'll end it Monday, like I've been doing. But yeah, so I don't have anything else to say right now. I'm excited for majority of these books. Yeah, I'm not really into nonfiction, but you know, it's an interesting topic. But anyway, I'm rambling like usual. Are we surprised? But anyway, hope you enjoy the video regardless, and I will see you in my next update, and hopefully with some chibi content. Hello. So I have not updated in a few days, and yes, I am in the car. People were supposed to be coming to look at the apartment for the AC and stuff, so it was just easier for me to be in here. We're all good. I'm just in the car. I figured since I'm out here, I might as well update. I haven't updated in a few days. It is Monday now. I haven't had many clips or anything. I did start Saturday, because when I started this vlog, Addie LaRue. Well, I continued reading because I had already started it, but I did get farther in Addie LaRue, and I did pretty good that day. I read quite a bit. I went from like page 39 to 70 something, but then yesterday, because like I've said, there's this Kindle book, The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule, that is the nonfiction that I'm reading throughout the month. It's not on the list to roll because I feel like it would be, because I think it's longer than a lot of the other books and everything, so I wanted to just read it continuously whenever I felt like picking it up instead of just limited to a week. Sorry if I keep looking around, I'm really awkward. So I picked it up yesterday, and woo Skippy, am I just surprised? I am, just to clarify, so I don't like true crime necessarily. I don't want to see crimes, like crime scenes necessarily, all the blood and gore and all this other stuff, and like, I've never been one of those true crime girlies, you know, but what I find interesting to learn about is the psychology behind, like, why they do what they do, like serial killers do what they do and everything, like the psychology of it. I feel weird sometimes if it like goes too far into like really being disrespectful to like victims and stuff, so I try to like steer clear of that kind of stuff. But it's more of the psychology, like back in the States I have the Mindhunter book, and the other books that John Douglas did, who was one of the creators of the BAU, Behavioral Analysis Unit in the FBI, because Mindhunter was actually a book. It's a non-fiction book. It is not fiction, about real people. Some things have been changed obviously for the show, but I had the book. I did start it at one point, but then I put it down for some reason, and then, sorry if I haven't been in the frame, it's hard to know, but I put it down. I'm still interested in it, but like that kind of thing, doing the profiling thing, like obviously there's bad connotations to profiling, like not those connotations, not like that, like behavioral things, like understanding, like how, that's why I liked watching Criminal Minds, because it was the trying to figure out like aspects to figure out who did it, and like what, like, you get what I'm saying. If you've watched Criminal Minds, you'll understand. But like that kind of thing, and I do want to rebuy the Mindhunter books, especially after starting to read this one. Like, I'm not a fanatic about serial killers. I do not know much about many of the big name. I know their names, like big name serial killers, but I don't really know much about like what they did, like much about them, because I don't usually go for that. It's more like why they do what they do, and even then I don't really go out of my way to look it up, because like sometimes I feel weird about it. But I don't think people should feel weird about something they're interested in, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. That's neither here nor there. The point is that like I find the psychology and everything of these topics is very interesting to me. I really liked, when I was at university, one of my gen ed courses I took was psychology, and then at some point I took abnormal psychology, and I really enjoyed those subjects. Like, I really enjoyed learning about those. So that is the part that I like. But the point is like, I'm reading this book, The Stranger Beside Me. I don't know if you can see it, but by Anne Rule, who it was written in like the 80s, I think, and she has since like added to it. Like, she has like, in the beginning of this version that I have, she has like a thing that she put in from 2008 or something, and then at the end I think there's something from 2020 and everything. So she adds stuff as time goes to like either recollect something that she missed or something that was false or whatever. But the point is that she actually was friends with Ted Bundy. That's what the book is about. It's her. It's about Ted Bundy and like how she was friends with him, and like how she's finding out that he was really a stranger to her, because she couldn't fathom that he did these things. And like, I'm actually surprised. Like, nonfiction like these, I do understand like me getting more into it, because it is a subject that I'm interested in. Not like this, the whole like obsessed with serial killer thing. That's not my thing. But like, I find myself wanting to pick this book up more than Addie LaRue, which is weird, especially since it's a nonfiction. But I'm having an interesting time. I did learn a few things about Ted Bundy that I didn't know, because I didn't know much about Ted Bundy. I just know the name and that he was horrible. It's been interesting seeing it. Like, sometimes the way she describes him, is a little like, she's recalling how she saw him in that time. So I get why it's worded the way it is, but yeah, it's kind of gross to like read it like that. Like, she's like saying he's charming, he was charming, handsome, all this other good description, like these good descriptions. But again, it's like, I know I saw a review on Amazon that was like kind of saying that they didn't like how she was portraying him in a good light like that, like saying these good things and everything, and I can see why that would be a problem. She even admits that, yeah, people probably will be mad to know that she supported him for years too long after everything came out and everything. And like, she's admitting that, yeah, that she can understand like people being mad. I agree, she should have stayed friends with him as long as she did after everything that came out about him. I mean, it's good that she acknowledges it now, but I mean, obviously, like, it's a bit late. But I'm very interested in where it's like, in seeing where, like, what's going on. The point is that I'm actually finding myself wanting to pick this up more than Addie LaRue. Not that Addie LaRue is bad by any means, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what my aversion to picking that book up is. It's not that I don't enjoy it. I think at the same time, I'm not enjoying Addie's character in a way. I think that she is a little annoying sometimes, and like I get where her circumstances put her. She has to like lie and steal and stuff. I get it, but at the same time, it's like, so I don't know. I'm enjoying it and not enjoying it at the same time. I'm gonna continue reading that, but I found myself picking this up more than that, which is the funny thing. But anyways, that's like what I've been doing. But well, we've been playing Phasmophobia, me and my boyfriend, really learning the game and trying to get good at it, and it's really creepy and stuff. So we've also been doing that, so that's another reason why I haven't been updating, and because it's the weekend, and usually that's when my boyfriend doesn't work, so we try to just spend time together. So that's usually why a lot of times I don't update the vlog over the weekend. But since I'm here, well, it's Monday, so it's not the weekend anymore, so that's why I didn't update the vlog on the weekend. So that's what's been going on. Yes, I'm in the car. Nothing serious is going on. Just people need to look at something in the apartment. So I came out here. I could only assume people think I look crazy sitting here in the back seat of a car that's not on, not moving, not going anywhere, no driver. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. But yeah, I feel like I'm rambling now, but I do plan on continuing Stranger Beside Me and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Hopefully, I really should prioritize The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue since that was my role for this week. So next time I like not in here, I'm in the car. I brought it with me, but I feel like I'm just gonna keep reading the Stranger Beside Me for now, and then later, if I have time to read again, I'll read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. That's what I'll do. I don't think I got much chibi clips yet, but I will make sure to add some of those. Chibi boy. But I hope you are enjoying the vlog regardless of me being in a car and the audio and lighting being really terrible. But you know, I figured this was a perfect opportunity for me to update the vlog since, you know, I'm all alone. And, you know, that's usually when I update when I'm by myself, because I'm very awkward doing it around people. Even though there are technically people sometimes walking around, but you know, I do shut up during that point. But yes, I am rambling. I will update you when I have some chibi clips or when I have something to say. Probably gonna update tomorrow though. It's usually how it goes, update once a day. But if something happens, I will let you know. But I am going to continue reading The Stranger Beside Me, and I will update you later. Hello. So I didn't update yesterday. I think just not yesterday. Was it just not yesterday? I think yesterday was Wednesday. I know I updated Tuesday because I was in the car. I was reading The Stranger Beside Me and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I did read more of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue on Tuesday. And that was the last day that I read it because I was just sucked into this book, The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule. It was... I have mixed feelings about it. There is a part of the previous clip when I'm in the car where I'm explaining something, which it was earlier on in the book, that I, like, my opinions from early on, regarding certain aspects of the book, and upon getting farther, and I did finish the book yesterday, because yesterday I only read this, didn't read Addie LaRue. I was just so engrossed in it, but the farther I got in, the more, like, I don't want those opinions. Like, I have to rework what I said, so I'm just taking that out. So I'm gonna now tell you my updated thoughts since I finished it. So The Stranger Beside Me, I actually was very engrossed into the story. Like, I saw a lot of, because I went on Goodreads and stuff, I did see a lot of reviews that didn't really enjoy her writing, didn't think it was a good writing at all, which I was confused about, because I thought it wasn't that bad. Like, her writing actually pulled me in and had me wanting to continue reading. But alongside that, like, I was invested in the story, and I did enjoy the way it was written. Maybe other people don't like it, and maybe they think it's not the best written, but I didn't think it was too bad. But as much as I was engrossed and I do like it, I have mixed opinions on the way it was told, I guess, or like the narrative, because obviously it's Anne talking about knowing Ted and being a part of the whole thing going on, because she was a part of the investigations in Washington before they even knew, like, the name Ted was associated with them, and then as things came out and it was pointing towards her friend Ted Bundy. It's kind of hard, because in the beginning, like in the clip that I know, like the part of the clip that I'm not going to include, I was mentioning things early on, but upon reflection, like upon going farther, just the narrative and is very trying to be too sympathetic to Ted, and not, like, I could understand to a point where she was coming from, where this is someone that she considered a friend, thought she knew, and then obviously he's accused of these heinous acts, right? And I can understand to a very fine point that it's hard to, you know, grapple with, and like you don't want to just throw away your friend and everything. But I could only stick by that to a point in this story. It's not a novel. This book, because she consistently would be like boo-hoo for Ted. And I'm like, well, what about the victims? Like, whether or not he was guilty at that point, there's still a matter of, let me try to still consider that there are victims, and I'm not sure if he did it or not. He could very well have. And I don't think that there was a lot of being considerate of the victims' feelings or their family, because at one point, and I got so pissed off, I was like ranting to my boyfriend, because I was just getting really tired of her saying like, oh, I can't imagine what it must be like for Ted to be like locked up and all this other stuff. And I'm like, he's being accused of these horrible crimes. Like, whether he's guilty or not, fine. But like, at the same time, you don't know. So there are victims. So So she at one point was grappling with the fact of like, she was being pulled in two different directions. She was with like working with investigators and everything, and they were saying like this, he did this and blah blah blah, and then she was still friends with him, still in contact and like being friends, and she felt like she was being disingenuous to him because she felt like, was she just using him? Was it wrong? And then the psychiatrist she went to was like, would you, if he was found guilty, would you drop him? And she said a resounding, it didn't take her long to even, like, it was an immediate answer, like, no, she wouldn't drop him. She would stick by him because she feels like he would need someone. And then that's when I was like, okay, I cannot abide by what you're saying. I cannot be behind you. I cannot stand you right now because that's just gross. That's like the biggest fuck you to these victims and their families, for you to sit there and be like, you somehow still deserve the same sympathy and empathy as everyone else when you literally committed these heinous acts. And she's saying if he's found guilty, and I'm like, no, my God, this is too far for me. Like, that is like disgusting to me personally. You can have a different opinion, that's fine, but I don't think that that's right. And then I guess spoilers, but it's not really spoilers, these are facts. When they found, when he had escaped the second time and ended up in Florida and he was killing, he then abducted a 12-year-old girl and killed her, Kimberly Leach, I think her name was. And when she still was contacting him, talking to him, sending him money. Oh, I was pissed off because what he did was already heinous and gross and horrible, but he did it to a child, and you still have the audacity to like care about what he thinks about you because she was worried about him thinking that because she has to be with the press at the trial, that he would think that that she was fully on the other side. And I'm like, so fucking what? Oof. He literally, like, they found the body of this 12-year-old girl who they believe might have been sexually assaulted and killed while being sexually assaulted, and you have the audacity to care what this person who did it thinks. I just think it's a big fuck you to the victims and their families, because at the end of the day, yes, you have this connection or whatever you think you had to Ted Bundy, but at the end of the day, he still did these horrible things, and you have to consider the victims. And she supposedly considered victims and wanted to help, you know, warn other women and all this other stuff, but then it's at the same time you're talking like we're supposed to sympathize with Ted. We're supposed to feel bad for Ted because at one point he was in prison during Christmas time, and she was like, I can't imagine what Ted must be feeling being all alone in that prison. And I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like, he has lost the right to my sympathy. He has lost the right to anybody's sympathy. He has lost the right to even care about if he is feeling alone or whatever, because he has lost the right to me, for me to care about that aspect. Yeah, he's in prison because he put himself there, because he did these horrible things. So why would I feel bad for him? Or I don't know. I couldn't abide. So as much as I was engrossed in the story, and because I didn't know much about it, I just know Ted Bundy was a horrible serial killer. I didn't know the details. I didn't know what exactly his crimes were, how many victims. I didn't know anything. But I was engrossed because I wanted to learn about what happened. I mean, more of it was I wanted to understand why he did what he did alongside knowing what happened, but a a lot of it was Anne, like, just connecting her and Ted, and feeling bad for Ted, even as these things kept coming out about him, and there was clear, glaring things that would connect Ted to these things, and she just still wanted to be, I just couldn't abide by it after she made that comment about, like, he's gonna need somebody. I'm like, squeeze me? Say that again for me? I think I've lost the plot somewhere, because this is wrong. This is gross. This is disgusting. I was upset because it's just like a big fuck you to the victim. So essentially, I could understand in the beginning her feelings, but then once he was arrested and was being tried, like, he was being suspected of murder, and her colleagues were telling her he fits the profile, then she should have started, like, really backing it up. And then once he was on trial and it was apparent he was guilty, because once he was found guilty, she still was sending him he was on death row and she was still sending him fucking money. I'm like, my god. Oh my god. I'm just pissed off. Like, I don't know. I don't hate the book, because I did learn a lot, but also I'm going in with no knowledge. So obviously people who know a lot are very into true crime are probably not going to be happy with this. And that's fine. I enjoy is the wrong term. I was engrossed in the story and had to keep reading. I was reading all night. I was reading all day. So that's why I finished it real quick. It was like 700 something pages. I thought I was going to read this all throughout the month. That was the point. This week was supposed to be mostly Addie LaRue and this every so often, but I was like, I need to read this. I wanted to gobble it up. So that was good, but I just think she missed the mark on really focusing on giving the victims their due diligence and giving them their time to shine, and really focusing on the victims and making sure people understood what kind of horrible monster Ted was. Because yes, seeing the side of him, like, you can sympathize with when he was growing up, fine, but you still need to show that he was turning into this person. It was just, I don't know, I'm just upset a bit at the way that she did it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I haven't put it through call back. I don't know when I will. I'm pissed off by the way that she handled it. Like, I could cut someone else. I've cut people out of my life for less than that. Like, yeah, I don't know. But either way, that I finished that book, have not touched Addie LaRue. I'm kind of enjoying it, kind of not. I kind of don't like, for Addie LaRue, I knew that certain things were going to happen, but I'm starting to see maybe why they're happening, and I'm not sure I like the reasoning why it is the way it is. I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to do spoilers, but that's pretty much all I have to update, because that's all I finished. We've just been playing Phasmophobia right now. My boyfriend is doing some work stuff. I just want to do this real quick. But yeah, it's getting hot here. I'm a little upset. That's pretty much it. I'll update maybe tomorrow. But finished The Stranger Beside Me. A little upset about it. Also was engrossed by it. Didn't read Addie LaRue yesterday. Hopefully I will continue that. But yeah, it's getting hot here, so I'm gonna head out. But I'll probably update you tomorrow. Hewwooo. So it's been a bit and I have not updated. I don't remember the last time I updated. I didn't update after I think I was talking about The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule and finishing that, and I was still reading The Invisible Life of Addie Rue. I don't want to repeat myself too much about what I've already talked about with this, but today is Tuesday, so I'm late on ending this vlog. I started it early and I'm ending it late. I'm all over the place. Just yesterday, Monday, was a little crazy. We're getting our AC fixed, which took 3 hours. So I just wasn't in the mood. But yeah, so just to wrap up yesterday, I won't go into anything past that. And things I'm probably just gonna put in the beginning of this next week's vlog, which I will start right after this. So that's cool. Like, you know, I finished The Stranger Beside Me, which is a nonfiction about how Anne Rule is like a true crime writer, and this was like her first book, which just so happened to then turn into her recounting knowing Ted Bundy, the infamous serial killer, and everything. Just a quick recap of my thoughts. I know that you probably already heard, but I feel like it wasn't really coherent. Maybe I'll probably try my best to edit it into a coherent thought. But I'm very mixed on this, especially since I read this. I did watch the Netflix limited series Confessions with a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes, which made me look at this a little bit more like, okay, I'm gonna have to separate your thing with with fact and everything. Not saying she lied or she embellished or she didn't speak the truth, because maybe her research took her different places and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. Anne, she dead. I can't ask her. But there was things that I was like confused about that she wrote in here that wasn't in the thing, and vice versa. Like, in here she says that Ted Bundy was originally his mom was from Pennsylvania, and he was born, I think, in Pennsylvania or something, because she mentions Pennsylvania, and she mentions one of the universities in Pennsylvania, and like him going to, like, it mentions him being from Philly and all this other stuff, and I'm like, okay, but they never mention that in the Netflix film, the Netflix series, and they never mention it. They never even make it a hint that he's from there. I feel like they said that he's like from Vermont or something, and I'm like, so I'm confused. So I'm just taking this as like her recounting of that. I don't really take everything she says outside of that. She also wasn't even mentioned in the thing, and that doesn't really mean anything, I guess, at the end of the day, but she wasn't mentioned. She wasn't, and they talked to people that he knew, but she wasn't, I think, let me give her a little bit of credit. She did pass away before they made it. It came out in 2019, so to her credit, but she wasn't even mentioned in passing, or mentioned. Obviously she's gonna be interviewed, but she wasn't even mentioned. I'm not saying she didn't know Ted. I very much believe she did. Maybe she just didn't have as much of a, at the end of the day, it wasn't as like big, her involvement with Ted. I don't know. But I'm not gonna like, you know, be mean about it, because I saw a lot of Goodreads reviews like really like kind of bashing her, and I don't think that's necessary. She had what she perceived as a relationship, a friendship with Ted, and a connection with Ted, and that's, we can't tell her otherwise. We can't, you know, we can't be here and be like, well, we know better than you. yes, did she kind of make herself out look like the women that she was trying to say were so taken by Ted that they were willing to do anything for him, wanted to be there for him, and everything, like the kind of person that she was talking about, like that he was affecting. I do see that she kind of writes herself into that whole of, she kind of looks like that kind of person. This book was really engrossing. I really went through it. Like, it was good for what it was, but I don't appreciate the narrative. At the end of the day, it did get me reading. It did keep me reading. So I can't fault it for that, but I do not think I can look at it in the same light after watching that and after like everything that happened within the book. It's not bad by any means, but I just think maybe be careful. The narrative is very much boohoo for Ted. And like her sticking by him, like it just, I don't know. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it just, I want to give it credit because I was engrossed. And I don't hate it by any means, but I don't think, like, I do want to try another Anne Rule book. Like, I know a lot of people were put off by this, but I want to try one of her ones that she's so far removed from the victims, the suspect, everything, to see if maybe that would be better. I did finish that one in the week. And then let's talk about The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So, I did get a good portion of it read. I'm more than halfway. I got to page 252. I got to part 4, chapter 7 of part 4. So I don't want to ruffle any feathers or, you know, anything. Because yesterday when the AC people were here for 3 hours, I did read for a good hour or some of this to try to get it done. And suffice to say, I wasn't having a good time. It was a chore. I really didn't, I appreciate how, like, the writing is good. It just at some point, like, I did, like, there's quotes and parts that I really liked how it sounded and everything, but at some point it became repetitive in a way, in the way that it was too much sometimes. Like, it was just constant, like, metaphors, or like too flowery all the time, maybe. I don't know. It just felt too much too often, when I just wanted them to get to the point of what they were trying to say, or the point that she was trying to make of, like, what was going on or how they were feeling, because it just became too much and too repetitive. And at some point I got to this point and I'm like, why am I, like, what more could you do? I think it's too long. I became really just done with it. I got really done with kind of like Addie and Henry. I don't like the twist. Like, I know how it's not on V. Schwab for what I wanted, because, you know, that's irrelevant at the end of the day. But I didn't like I've said already. I know I have said I didn't like where the twist was going. And I didn't like what the twist, I didn't like it. I didn't like the reasoning, because I didn't personally want that to be the case, which is fine. That's on me, not V. Schwab, not the book. But it just, so as of right now, your girl's DNFing The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Probably forever. I don't know if I could do it. I'm probably just gonna skim read the last bit, maybe just skip to the end. I'm sorry, I don't care. It was fine, but as I kept reading, it was too much of a chore. I wanted to be one of those girlies who really fell in love with this book, but it's just too long, because where I am, I'm like, the romance was too quick for me. I'm like, I get it for Addie to a point, but it still was too much, too quick. I don't know. I know, like, my opinion probably is not what people are gonna think is the right one. It's an unpopular opinion, but it just wasn't for me. I'm sorry. So this was one of my course books. So I was like, well, I just wasted all this time trying to read this in this week. I did read a different book, so I did finish a book. So I'm not gonna be that hard on myself, but yeah, I feel like I wasted my time on that. But so I was like, okay, well, either I was considering this as read, just being like, you know what, I put in the time and the effort to read this book, so I deserve just to say it's read. But alas, I'm not gonna do that. So I decided I'll find 3 easy books that I have that I could put together, because this one was for the close your eyes, shuffle point, and then whatever book you pointed at is the one you read. So I found 3 easier books, quicker books that I could easily get through to take this base of this one, and I gave them to my boyfriend, and he shuffled, and then I pointed, and I got Amelia Fang in the Barbaric Ball, which is the first Amelia Fang book. I have the one with the split edges. Yes, I know, I'm so happy to have this, but I know Gavin really enjoyed this book. I do have all of them, but I have not read them. I'm just gonna read the first one, and I'm excited. It's very quick. It's a middle grade. I'm excited. It's gonna be very quick. So on my list, I did switch it out already. For The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I just erased and put this in its spot, because we're not going to talk about Addie LaRue any longer. So that's pretty much that for this. I'm not going to go into too much more. I'll just add whatever else in the new vlog, because I just want to get this clip done so I can move on to the next week, because, you know, we got to keep going. It is Tuesday. I'm late. This vlog is going to go late. So are we surprised? Not at all. So on my handy dandy notebook, I did write out my TBR. So let me just with my cute pen, I'm going to check off the stranger beside me for animal studies. Yes. Animal studies. Flip a coin. That one I finished, which, funny enough, was the one that I was scared of, because it was the nonfiction. I actually finished that one first. Who'd have thought it? But yeah, that's pretty much it for this vlog. I'm sorry it's everywhere. Sorry I repeat myself sometimes. Sometimes I can't remember what I've already said. So, hope you understand. Hope you enjoy the chibi clips. Sorry, there's always so much, but you know, chibi, I just can't help it. Chibi just does some gold stuff that's chef's kiss golden that I can't help but show the world. So anywho, I really want to get this done, but I hope you enjoyed the vlog. Sorry, Addie LaRue fans, B. Schwab fans, I just didn't vibe with it. It was fine. It had good quotes. I just don't think I can continue reading it, and I'm sorry. I tried again. This is my second time. I tried. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this vlog. I hope you enjoy. If you do enjoy my videos, please feel free to give a like and subscribe. I would love to have you here, and I will see you in my next video.